Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone. This is Laurie Smith on Blog Talk Radio, and it is 9:30 p.m. Monday night, Calgary, Alberta, and I'm happy to be here. This is Child Abuse Prevention and Human Rights Abuse Prevention is up to us, and we are going to be on for half an hour. It's a live internet streaming radio broadcast from blogtalkradio.com, and you can come and sit in the chat room if you like. If you're listening on a player somewhere, the chat room is open. And I'm just glad that you can join in and be here and listen to some of this good information. Tonight we're going to be talking about internet safety. And I found this information, I just researched it this afternoon and this evening, and found this information on kids' health. And you can bring this up. It's from Nemours, Nemours. And you can bring this up yourself. Just type into your browser HTTP and then semicolon / kids health, KIDS HEALTH, kidshealth.org. And you can bring this up yourself and take a look. There's lots of good information on there for parents, for children, and for youth, like for the older kids, right? So it's some great information, and I just think that internet safety, online child safety, internet safety is so important. We cannot even, understate that enough. You know what I mean? Like, we have to protect our children no matter, how far we have to go to do it. We have to protect our children. And online safety is such a huge issue right now. You know, there's so many issues with child sexual predators online who are just looking and searching for children who are willing to meet them, willing to give them information. And, these children don't know, oftentimes that they're talking to a child sexual predator. They think that they're talking to a kid that's their age. And, they get talked into meeting, sometime after school, and, kids go out and meet these, they think they're going out to meet their 12-year-old friend, but actually they're going out there to meet a child sexual predator, and, if they're not killed, then their lives are destroyed because they're sexually assaulted by these child sexual predators. So, you have to protect your children. Children have the right to protection, and as a parent, you owe it to your children to really become aware of all the issues surrounding online child safety and internet safety, and even for yourselves, adults and children, right? Everyone needs to stay safe online, and we just can't get enough information on this. We need to become completely educated and aware of what is going on out there in order to protect ourselves, because it's such a huge, serious issue. And all you have to really do is start looking around at some of the news reports that are out there now of children who are actually sadly being, set up by online child predators to meet them places, and then they're abducted or killed. It's just horrible, and it has to stop. And it's just about the only way we're going to do it is through education, awareness, and prevention of this happening, right? So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We might even go on with it later, throughout the week. And we'll just see, we just talk about it until we're done with the topic. It's so important. So, this is not a professional show. I don't hold any professional counseling certificates, therapist certificates, or anything like that. It's just me. I just pay to do this Blog Talk Radio show because I think that these issues, really, there's not enough people talking about them. And the more people we can get talking about this stuff, the better off we are, The more education we get, the better off we are to protect ourselves, our families, our children. So it's just so important. And there's just not enough talk about child abuse, and that's why, I do these shows, because it's always silenced, and it just, over the centuries and many, thousands of years, it's always been hushed up, pushed under the carpet, locked away. No one wants to talk about it. And so that's what I really focus on, is child abuse prevention and human rights abuse prevention, but mainly child abuse prevention, because children often, really, they have no one to they can't stand up for themselves. So we have to do it for them. And they don't often have a voice. Actually, they rarely have a voice. So we have to be their voice. And so that's why I'm doing this show. So, I just pay to do this show. I'm a part-time student at MRU here in Calgary, and I study child rights, human rights, international community development. And I just think that I just want to be one more voice to add to all the other voices out there who are already doing all this awesome work to get the word out. And so that's why I'm doing this show. And so I'm just happy that you can be here. But if the topics really bother you and it's just something that you just think you can't listen to or whatever, it's use your discretion. It's your discretion. Turn the show off and listen at your own discretion, please. And if you're a young person, I'm telling you, that's why we're talking about internet safety tonight. Because if you're a young person under the age of 18, you need to have an adult listen to this show with you so that they can tell you whether or not you should be listening to it. And also, they can help you find information. Let's say it's a topic that you're not really up on. You don't understand sort of what I'm talking about and what the material is covering. Then you can get some help from somebody who's older, maybe has some more information or knows how to get more information. And so, then it's just helpful that way. And also because there's so many issues with child online safety. There's so many child sexual predators out there trying to get a hold of children that you just need to get into a habit of having an adult kind of know what you're listening to and know what you're doing online. It is so important. You could save your life. You could save your friends' lives by telling them to do the same thing, and you could protect yourself from becoming a victim or hopefully a survivor of an assault by a child sexual predator. I'm telling you what, you cannot be safe enough. You really need to know the facts, and that's what we're going to talk about here tonight. So Kids Health, HTTP kidshealth.org. And it's called Internet Safety, and I'm just going to read right from the top of the page. I just printed it off, and I'm just going to read right through there. I might add some of my own stuff in there. You just never know what I'll throw in there. But we're going to read right through this article because it's really good information. So I'll just start out right here. It says Internet Safety. The Internet can be a wonderful resource for kids. They can use it to research school reports, communicate with teachers and other kids, and play interactive games. Kids who are old enough to punch in a few letters on the keyboard can literally access the world. But that access can also pose hazards. For example, an 8-year-old might do an online search for Lego, for quote unquote LEGO, Lego, but with just one missed keystroke, the word legs is entered in instead, and the child may be directed to a slew of websites with a focus on legs, some of which may contain pornographic material. And that's why it's important to be aware of what your kids see and hear on the Internet, who they meet, and what they share about themselves online. Just like any safety issue, it's wise to talk with your kids about your concerns. Take advantage of resources to protect them and keep a close eye on their activities. And, a lot of times kids think, I know as a teenager I would have thought that my parents were trying to butt in and trying to be nosy and nose into what I was doing. But, you have to do it because later on they will thank you for it after they realize that you were doing it because you cared and weren't just allowing them to do whatever they want and then end up in a serious mess in a lifetime of healing from the trauma of being, sort of scoped out and picked up by a child sexual predator. So this is the thing, kids at the time might not appreciate it. Later on, they will definitely thank you for it. Internet safety laws. It says a federal law, the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, which is the COPPA, was created to help protect kids online. It's designed to keep anyone from obtaining a child's personal information without a parent knowing about it and agreeing to it first. And that's COPPA, I guess, COPPA, Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, requires websites to explain their privacy policies on the site and get parental consent before collecting or using a child's personal information, such as a name, address, phone number, or social security number. The law also prohibits a site from requiring a child to provide more personal information than necessary to play a game or participate in a contest. So this is stuff that, as a parent, you really want to be aware of, that these things should actually be on these sites. So if your children or you have a young person at home, a teenager, you want to know what they're doing, and you want to go and check out what they're doing, and make sure that the sites that they're on, as far as like the games and the different things like that, or contests and stuff they're entering, have these sort of disclosures on there and policies, privacy policies on the site, and that they make sure that they get parental consent before collecting or using a child's personal information. So important. It says, but even with this law, your kid's best online protection is you. By talking to them about potential online dangers and monitoring their computer use, you'll help them surf the Internet safely. And then they go on here to talk about online protection tools. Online tools are available that will let you control your kids' access to adult material and help protect them from internet predators. No option is going to guarantee that they'll be kept away from 100% of the risks on the internet. So it's important to be aware of your kids' computer activities and educate them about online risks. And they said here, many internet service providers, ISPs, provide parent control options to block certain material from coming into a computer. You can also get software that helps block access to certain sites based on a bad site list that your ISP creates. That's the internet service provider. Filtering programs can block sites from coming in and restrict personal information from being sent online, and other programs can monitor and track online activity. Also, make sure your kids create a screen name to protect their real identity. So your children can, your youth, they can actually create a screen name so that their real name is not on there, and that's a really good idea. And they give some more tips here about all that stuff, like what to disclose for the children. There is a section here that is that we're going to get into here tonight, or maybe hopefully tonight, and it's for the children and what they need to be aware of. This is more oriented for the parents, right? Getting involved in kids' online activities. This is the next portion of this article, and it says, aside from these tools, it's wise to take an active role in protecting your kids from internet predators and sexually explicit materials online. And to do that, they list off a whole bunch of stuff here. Become computer literate and learn how to block objectionable material. So that's a good idea. We need to, as parents, we need to know how to block stuff and how to actually work the computer well enough to be able to block these sites or block these different chat rooms or whatever it is, right? And so it's a good idea to get that education and learn how to do it. Keep the computer in a common area, not in an individual bedroom where you can watch and monitor its use. So this way, if your computer is out like in the hall, like not the hallway, but let's say the living room, then you would be able to sort of keep an eye on what's going on. If it's in the kids' room, which quite often I guess they are, at least I see that on TV quite a bit. You can't really watch what they're doing, right? You don't know what they're doing, and so it's especially for young children, right? Who, young, not toddlers. I mean, we're talking kids who just they might not want you to see what they're doing. And I think if you have a good enough relationship, which I would hope that everyone. It's sad that people don't, but it's great if you do have that kind of relationship with your teenagers and stuff. That they learn to trust the fact that you're just protecting them, and and you have a good relationship with them, then they would tell you what they're actually going on. They're actually the sites that they're going on. I just think I wish everybody would do that, because we could save children's lives. And children, it's unfortunate that they don't realize the dangers out there. That this is happening and it's true, it's real, it's not just made up. This is real stuff in the news, and it's unfortunate that the parents have to find out the hard way. And kids have to find out the hard way that this is real, and that they really have to protect themselves, and that parents owe it to their children to do every single thing that they possibly can to protect their children. It's just so important. And they say here's another suggestion that they have: share an email account with your child so you can monitor messages. And that's really important. If you have a young child who wants, they're just old enough that they want to start sending emails to their friends who have computer access as well. You could set up an account with them so that you can keep a track of the messages and keep track of what's being sent and what's coming in, right? And then they say here, bookmark kids' favorite sites for easy access. This way they don't have to go searching, like typing into the browser different words that they might pull up certain sites that they shouldn't be seeing. And that's a good idea for sure. Just bookmark all the kids' favorite sites, and then they know when they're looking for their favorite sites, they can just go and look through their favorites, and they can find those sites instead of having to type in words and they end up on some sites they shouldn't be on. And it says here, spend time online together to teach your kids appropriate online behavior, and that's a really good idea. And because kids, they're little sponges, and they pick up what you do as an adult, as a parent. They watch what you do, so they will learn from you how to go about being safe online and just appropriate online behavior. And it says here, forbid your child from entering private chat rooms. Block them with safety features provided by your internet service provider or with special filtering software. Be aware that posting messages to chat rooms reveals a user's email address to others. So these chat rooms, that's a serious thing, especially for kids, adults and stuff, we have to protect ourselves too. But kids, they don't know. They're just not aware of what's going on, so they think it's perfectly safe. They go into these chat rooms, they meet up with all these online child sexual predators, and it's not funny. It's happening, and there's reports coming out in the paper all the time, and statistics and stuff, and we'll get into that this week. But it's horrible, absolutely horrible. So you have to learn how to block these things so that your children can't get into them, and block them, so that your children can't unblock them. You know what I mean? There has to be ways to do this. It says here, monitor your credit card and phone bills for unfamiliar account charges. Now that's a good idea. It's very important to keep. We cannot keep ourselves safe enough, honestly, in this world today. You have to protect yourself, you have to protect your family, you have to protect your children, right? And it says here, find out what, if any, online protection is offered by your child's school, after-school center, friends' homes, or any place where kids could use a computer without your supervision. Libraries and stuff have computers as well. And yeah, good idea. You want to know what's going on with your kids, where they are all day, and what they're doing, and where they're going to be, and if there is computers where they're going to be, is there actually any online protection on those computers? You know what I mean? It's so important. And it says here, take your child seriously if he or she reports an uncomfortable online exchange. And that's very important, because children generally, if they're scared, they don't generally lie about stuff like that. And if they get a weird feeling about somebody and it scares them, and they come to you with that, you want to take that seriously. If they come up to you and they tell you, I just talked to somebody that it just scared me or something, you don't want to brush it off. You want to definitely check into it and just see what's been happening online there with your child, right? So important. And it says here, forward copies of obscene or threatening messages you or your kids get to your internet service provider. And you want to just save those and forward those copies over to your ISP provider. And we can get more into this, but I think that there's more places you can send that stuff to, and we'll take a look at that this week too, because I think that there's the FBI and different places like that you can send information to as well. It says here, call the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children at 800-843-5678 if you're aware of the transmission, use, or viewing of child pornography online. So that's the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children at 800-843-5678 if you're aware of the transmission, use, or viewing of child pornography online. It says contact your local law enforcement agency or the FBI if your child has received child pornography via the Internet. That is so important. It's unbelievable the amount of people out there who are actually dealing and messing around with child pornography. And we see it in the paper all the time. I hear it on the news. And people just kind of think, oh, well, it's just another one of those. Because we see it so often, you almost just brush over it. But the fact is this is a crime. It's a crime, and it needs to be reported. So if this stuff is coming into your computer, or your child has been sent some online, like child pornography, or has come into your computer, you need to report it. Don't just brush it off and delete it. You need to report it, because we need to stop this from happening, right? And it says many sites use cookies, devices that track specific information about the user, such as name, email address, and shopping preferences. Cookies could be disabled. Ask your internet service provider for more information. And yeah, you can go online, with my ISP provider, my internet service provider, I found out how I can disable my cookies. And so, you just have to get on there and start searching around and get this information, right? And once you learn how to do it, it's actually not that hard. It's a matter of just learning and going through and figuring it out. And it says here, basic rules. Set up some simple rules for your kids to follow while they're using the Internet, such as follow the rules you set, as well as those set by your internet service provider. So your kids should follow the rules that you've set up for them, right? And then it says never trade personal photographs in the mail or scanned photographs over the Internet. So never trade any personal photographs at all in the mail or scanned photographs over the internet. And that's so important. And it says here, never reveal personal information such as address, phone number, or school name or location. Use only a screen name and never agree to meet anyone from a chat room in person. This is so important. You know, children don't know. You know, they get on there. If you don't educate your child and you let your child just do whatever they want online, they have no idea the danger that they're in. And you get some child sexual predator on there who's playing like they're their age, you know what I mean? Then they start asking, oh, where do you live? You know, oh, well, you want to meet me after school? You know, my name's Susie, right? And I'm telling you what, this is crazy. We have to protect our children. I don't have any children, you know, but I'm a voice for those children out there who don't have any protection, right? And so, you know, if I did have children, I tell you what, I'd be on top of it. Because all you have to do is take a look around in the news and start looking at these reports that are coming out about kids meeting these child online sexual predators after school, and you know, and then they're either killed or their lives are ruined due to assault by a child sexual predator. And I'm telling you, they're out there, they're everywhere. And you know, you have to really, I'm sorry, it's sad to say, but you have to be educated in this if you want to save your own lives, if you want to save your children's lives, if you want to save your family from a lifetime of pain and just trying to get over something like that. I'm telling you, you do not want to take a chance. So make sure that your children know not to tell any personal information to anyone, like such as an address, a phone number, their school name or location. You know, tell your children. You have to educate them. It's so important. And to use only a screen name. Never agree to meet anyone from a chat room in person, right? And I mean, I would even go as far to say as like, you know, I wouldn't even let my kids actually go into chat rooms, honestly. Not until they were way older and knew the rules and knew, you know, what to do, right? Because this is such a serious thing. I see stuff in the paper all the time and on the news, and it breaks my heart because I know that these are real children out there, and they are, you know, if they actually survive and live through the ordeal, their lives will be haunted forever by this meeting with a child sexual predator and by an assault by them. And it's just, you know, it's not the kid's fault, right? Whose fault is it? Well, it's the parent's fault. I'm sorry. You have to take responsibility and make sure that you are doing your job. And you know what I mean? It's just as simple as that. You know, it's not these kids' fault that this is happening. It's the child sexual predator's fault for sure, but it's also the parents' fault for not educating their children and not getting a good start with them and a good relationship with them when they're young, and so that they know that they can trust you and that they know that you're looking out for them and you're looking out for their behalf. You know what I mean? So important. It says here, never respond to a threatening email or message. And I think, you know, if you get a threatening email or message, you want to be turning that into your local law enforcement agency, your internet service provider. Different, you know, there must be lots and lots of different places to turn those threatening messages in. You know what I mean? Don't answer them. Just turn it in. Just report it. And it says always tell a parent about any communication or conversation that was scary. And that's like for a child, like. If you're a young person listening to this show right now, you know, if you have a conversation or you're talking to somebody online and it's scary and it scares you and it's very strange conversation and it makes you uncomfortable, tell your parents or tell someone that you trust, a teacher, a counselor, you know, a coach, someone, you know, that you trust, or your parents if you can, if they're there for you and they care about you. Make sure that you do tell someone, right? Because it's so important. And it says if your child has a new friend, insist on being introduced online to that friend, and that is a really good idea. Absolutely. Keep track of who your children's friends are. That's really big. You have to. You have to protect your children. And, you know, we can't do enough to really protect them. It's sad. Even people that are protecting their children are still having, you know, issues with online sexual predators. So, really, you have to do your due diligence and do all you can to protect your child. Because I know that if I had a child, I would be. So, you know, I just encourage everyone to get the education, learn how to do it, learn what needs to happen and how to talk to your kids about this, and you know, Get the education out there, the awareness out there, so that your kids will be safe online. So important. It says here, chat room caution. Chat rooms are virtual online rooms where chat sessions take place. They're set up according to interest or subject, such as a favorite sport or TV show. Because people can communicate with each other alone or in a group, chat rooms are among the most popular destinations on the web, especially for kids and teens. But chat rooms can pose hazards for kids. Some kids have met friends in chat rooms who were interested in exploiting them, and no one knows how common chat room predators are, but pedophiles, adults who are sexually interested in children, are known to frequent chat rooms. And these predators sometimes prod their online acquaintances to exchange personal information, such as addresses and phone numbers, thus putting the kids they are chatting with and their families at risk. It says pedophiles often pose as teenagers in chat rooms because many kids have been told by parents not to give out their home phone numbers. Pedophiles may encourage kids to call them. With caller ID, the offenders instantly have the kids' phone numbers. So there's another issue. You want to, as much as your children might know not to give out any of your personal information, you need to tell your kids not to make any phone calls to these people they meet in these chat rooms, because then with caller ID, they have your telephone number. So you want to make sure that you got all. That's why education is so important. I really believe that education is the key in all issues surrounding child abuse prevention, human rights abuse prevention, all of this stuff, online safety. It's all about education. We have to become educated and aware of what is going on. You know what I mean? And then we can work to prevent it and work to take the steps to prevent it. So important. And they say here, warning signs. Warning signs of a child being targeted by an online predator include spending long hours online, especially at night, phone calls from people you don't know, or unsolicited gifts arriving in the mail. If your child suddenly turns off the computer when you walk into the room, ask why and monitor computer time more closely. That's right, because I was a kid one time too, and I know if I didn't want my parents to see what I was doing, I would hide it or I would put it away really quickly, you know what I mean? So you want to make sure that you are looking out for your kids and watch for these signs, right? Withdrawal from family life and reluctance to discuss online activities are other signs to watch for. All of a sudden they don't want to spend too much time with the family. They just want to be online in these chat rooms late at night, talking to people on the phone. You better question it because your child could be in serious danger. And it says here, contact your local law enforcement agency or the FBI if your child has received pornography via the internet or has been the target of an online sex offender. So we're supposed to go directly to our law enforcement agency or the FBI if our children have received any kind of pornography via the internet or have been a target of an online sexual offender or predator, right? Taking an active role in your kids' internet activities will help ensure that they benefit from the wealth of valuable information it offers without being exposed to any potential dangers. And this was reviewed by Stephen Dowsend, MD, in 2008. But I still think it's a great article, and you can pull it up again. It's at http://kidshealth.org, and Kids Health from Noomers. Lots of information on that website. That's a great website. And I think we have about 2 minutes left, so we'll continue on with this on Wednesday night. We'll look at safe cyberspace surfing, and you can go pull this article up right away if you want to get this information. Lots of information. No talking to strangers. Keep your privacy. Different stuff like that. And there's lots more information on that website, and there's lots more websites out there with lots of information regarding child online safety, internet safety, and whatnot. So make sure you get the education. Keep yourself safe. Keep your children safe. Keep your family safe. Right? So important. I have about a minute left. I am the Canada Regional Director for Dreamcatchers for Abused Children, and I'm so happy to stand with them. Let me tell you, it's all about promoting awareness, education, prevention of child abuse, to stop child abuse. And you can check us out at www. No, I'm sorry, it doesn't even do that anymore. It's just http://dreamcatchersforabusedchildren.com. And you can go on there and you can get all the information regarding signs and symptoms of abuse, all the different kinds of signs and symptoms of all the different abuse that's going on, physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, psychological abuse. You need to know the signs and symptoms, right? And then you also need to know how to report it. And you can get that information there. They have a free PDF download. It's called the Child Abuse Handbook. It's written by best-selling author and president of Dreamcatchers for Abused Children, Donna Shear, and co-authored by CEO and founder of Dreamcatchers for Abused Children, Sandra Dawn Potter. They wrote this book together. It's called The Child Abuse Handbook. You want to download that. There's some great information on there regarding all the signs and symptoms of child abuse, how to report it, and all the information actually surrounding child abuse. Lots of facts and just different information on there that I think everybody needs to know, and what to look for. You know, it's so important, and that you need to report it. You have to do the right thing. If you suspect abuse, any kind of abuse, child abuse, you need to report it. And because these children, they can't stand up for themselves. So we have to be on the lookout for them, right? So important. You could save a child's life. So get that free download. And I hope you have a great night, everybody. We'll be talking to you soon. I'll be back on tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock a.m. for one child abuse survivor to another, and for half an hour tomorrow morning. And then tomorrow night is Dreamcatchers Talk Radio at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Donna Shear hosting and myself co-hosting. I hope you can tune in live for that. That is www.blogtalkradio.com/Dreamcatchers. So take care, everybody, and have a great night. Bye-bye.